So we're all snuggled up on the couch.
Woo!
By snuggled up, I mean Laura has tightened, and I'm snuggled up with a pillow on my lap.
Nice visual.
Yeah. Um, Before we get into today's main topic, you want to talk about our plans for the 4th?
Yeah, if you want. But I was also thinking about changing our topic since you were talking about being all cozy.
Huh. Okay, spare of the moment. Well, let's talk that after our plans. I think we have a fairly good idea of what our plans for the summer / the 4th are going to be. We didn't really share too much with you guys before this because one, it was a bit chaotic and a lot of it was up in the air. And I feel like it's all kind of starting to come down to the ground? I don't know, whatever. You want to start with your family?
Well, my sister died at 36 from diabetes in her sleep last summer. And she left behind 4 amazing kids. So we get them all summer. And I'm really excited.
So excited. I never had the last year, and if you've been following us and keeping up with us, you'll know it was a pretty tough year, especially for Laura. And I had the pleasure of meeting Christopher, the oldest of Chrissy's children, and now I actually get to meet Kayla and Giselle as well. And it's going to be amazing not just having like boys in the house. It's going to be really amazing.
Well, he's going to have to learn to deal with the little girl's attitude because little girls come with more attitude than little boys. But, you know.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll keep you guys filled in, I guess, as that progresses. But if you guys ever listen to this, Christopher, Xavier, Giselle, Kayla.
Actually, it goes Christopher, Kayla, Xavier, then Giselle.
You know, maybe I wanted to do some type of weird order that's not chronological.
Well, that's not their birth order. So.
We're super excited for you guys to come down and see us and just be part of our lives. So that's, and I don't know if you guys like or it's weird. Like when you get married, like you're combining families. So instead of it being like her family and your family and my family and vice versa. And I like to correct myself on this a lot of times is just say our family because, you know, that's what it really is. So another part of our family, my brother has been pretty much locked up for the past 6-7 years. He definitely messed up, you know, did something wrong, but I feel like he should have had like half the amount of time that he had. So it's really been a long time coming. I know that he has, you know, learned from his mistakes and everything like that. So with that, he's getting released on Independence Day. I mean, I'm sure that was like a pun at the prison. Like, oh, we're gonna release you on Independence Day. Go figure. So that's really exciting. That's really, like, I can't believe it. And then with that, we also, you know, whenever it seems like if there's like a death in the family or a birth in the family, or I guess someone getting, you know, out of prison, like all the family comes together. So family reunion. It's really exciting, but it also
I wouldn't say it's a reunion.
I mean, come on now, Laura. We got like how many people?
Yeah, but it's not nothing compared to a reunion. I would probably not go to a family
Family
reunion. That just sounds like I'm putting myself in prison. Like
God.
I'm about to catch a case today or something.
So I mean, like I'm giving the light heart of it, but it is a lot. It's really stressful. There's a lot that goes on with trying to plan it out. You know, we want to make it so that, you know,
Just running on now.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is the topic.
The topic.
Maybe. I mean, just an
Family.
family update. Maybe so.
I was gonna think more of how we fell in love or how we knew, but I mean, if you want to take it that route.
I mean, but yours sounds so much more appeasing and like heartfelt. I think it's a great idea.
And the struggles that we've overcome, I guess,
I mean,
thus far in our relationship, because it's not easy peasy.
well, maybe we should keep it with cozy how we each fell in love, and then next podcast we can talk about
Yeah,
the opposite,
I guess, but
flip side of that.
love isn't always cozy.
Oh, it's definitely not always cozy.
Not cozy. You got a lot of obstacles you gotta overcome.
Sometimes it's like them seat warmers in the car, or you wonder why your butt's getting hot, and you're like, why my butt getting hot?
I wouldn't compare it to a seat warmer.
So yeah, let's jump into that. So all the family, we're excited to see you. It's going to be a crazy, chaotic mess, and it's super stressful, but we're gonna have fun. So how we fell in love. You want to start? Or you want me to start?
Well, it makes sense if you start.
Okay, yeah, it does make sense.
Well, no, it doesn't. Okay, so I wouldn't say I fell in love this early, but I knew he was different than most people today. When we went on our first date, while we were still quote unquote courting or talking
sound like we're
or
polygamists.
whatever. Courting is not just a polygamous term, Will. It's a legit term. Talking would be the street slang, I guess.
I've never used the word courting.
Because you use the street slang of talking.
Talking.
Anyway, we went to Brick's Pizza, and I had dropped my fork on the floor, and Will literally went around the other side of the table, picked it up, returned it, and got me a new one.
Thought nothing of it.
Most people would not do that, so I thought that was pretty keep safe worthy, I guess. That was that. And then...
And she was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I was picking up your fork. I mean...
It was... And then that one time we went to the double-decker. The double-decker is a old trolley bus or tour bus or whatever it was that Asheville used to have, that they turned into a little coffee shop downtown. And they have this really cool upstairs area, which is like the upstairs part of the bus that's like seating, but it's like bus seats with tables. It's really cool. But it gets packed really fast, and it was what? November, December, something like that.
Prime time.
And
snuggle up time.
so we had went and got some awesome hot chocolate, and we were just sitting up there talking, still getting to know each other, and this old couple had came up, and the man had came up the stairs first, and saw me and Will were the only two people up there. So his wife kind of nudged him in the butt and was like, come on, go already, or something like that. And this guy gave us a wink and was like, it's full up here.
It was completely empty
But we were the only people that were up there. And he gave us a wink and smiled and walked outside and sat outside with his wife. And I just couldn't stop laughing when I put two and two together. And I had inhaled my freaking hot chocolate, and the only thing I can think of to breathe again was to puke. So I ended up throwing up in between Will's legs. I just looked over at him and gave him that look, and he spread his legs real fast, and
I spread my legs.
out went the hot chocolate, and he cleaned it up. We barely been dating 2 months, 3 months, whatever it was, and he literally cleaned it up. And I looked at him like he's crazy, because I would have just left and had one of the workers clean it up, but you know.
And Again, I was like, of course I'd just, I'd help out and pick it up. You just choked on yourself. So, those are key moments in, I guess, Laura falling in love. And I think a lot of times, when you're falling for someone, it is just those simple things that kind of tell the person's personality or brings up, I guess, deeper sentimental things. And that's kind of what happened with me with Laura. I already knew, and I don't know if you think I'm crazy, but I knew, from the, like, 24 hours in.
Was it the sex?
No, it wasn't. Well, it was, but it wasn't that. I knew that there was more to you than just sex. I was like, dang, that's amazing. But I want to find out, who this person is, and, I want to understand her more. And I knew, like, on our first, like, date or two, maybe it was at the fair.
Well, you said it hit you when we were in the movie theater.
Well, yeah, but I'm not talking about
Well,
love.
you didn't tell me at the fair, so I wouldn't know.
Look, Laura's spoiling my love story. She tried to give you all the spoilers, just like in the movie theater. She does that all the time. Don't watch PLL with her. She's going to let you know what season 9, 10, 8, 1. I don't know what seasons there are.
I think there's like 7 or 8.
So, in the stages of, falling in love, I think there's getting to know, there's there's lust, there's adore, and then I think eventually I skipped infatuation, which is a huge part of that, and then love. But for me, when I knew there was something about Laura, we ended up going to the fair, and I don't, oh man.
Oh, we were on the thingy, the sky lift.
Yeah.
We were on the sky lift, and some random kid or whatever, she looked like she was 14, was like, you two look really cute together or something. And I was like, oh, thank you. And it was just really random. She was on one side of the sky lift and we were on the other. And she
Passing by.
Yelled as loud as she could. And I was like, do you know her? And he's like, no. Do you? I'm like, no. So it was interesting.
Oh, no, yeah. And there was just something about that day. I couldn't tell you the exact thing, but I knew there was something to Laura that was more than just chill, hang out, fun sex. There was something deeper. Fast forward to 2, 3, 4-ish months. I don't know. Something like that. And we go to this movie. Maybe you should
50-50.
Yeah, maybe you should jump in at least until the part that I started
crying.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
that.
don't know. We were watching 50-50. It's about this guy who lived his life by the book, straight edge dude, had this girlfriend who cheated on him constantly. He just let it slide. I mean, she treated him like shit, and then come to find out he had cancer, and he thought he was going to die. So he said, fuck living straight edge, I'm gonna go crazy. And he started drinking and smoking pot. He kicked his girlfriend out, and he ended up fighting cancer and won.
And with that, just what triggered inside me, I lost my mom to, she had aplastic anemia and she passed of cancer. And I just remember thinking to myself, what if, I lost this girl, this woman that's kind of, I've only known her for 3 months, but I couldn't see any going another day without, her by my side. I couldn't see not having her support me and me support her and just being in her life. And, I just remember just crying. She's like, what's wrong? And I didn't tell her at that time, man, I'm in love with you. But, I didn't want to freak her out. But I knew at that moment, this is the one. This is the person. And that's another thing. When you fall in love, after the infatuation. Maybe we can talk a little bit about infatuation, like after this kind of love talk. But you don't exactly know or want to say, like, I love you too soon, because you don't want to force that other person to be like, oh, I love you too, and not really mean it or feel like they're forced to. So I didn't do that. I just knew my feeling, and I was feeling all sorts of giddy inside.
Well, we were in your apartment one day, or at my house. I don't necessarily remember. And you told me there was something that you wanted to tell me, but you didn't know how, or it wasn't the right time, or something. But I'll find out soon. So that freaked me out. I was like, okay, maybe he's like an axe murderer, and he wants me to join his clan or
Axe
something.
murderer clan.
So we were at his apartment one day, and he looked at me, and he said, I love Laura, adore you. I was like, what? He's like, I love Laura, adore you. And I was like, okay. And we went on about our day. And then it was in November, and the Grove Park Inn does the gingerbread house viewing where people make gingerbread house stuff, and
We got lost
they go
going there, didn't we?
Yeah, you almost drove the car off a cliff. Anyway, so we go there, and after the whole scary scenario of trying to get the car not off a cliff, we didn't even want to see the gingerbread houses at this point. We were
I
just
do
like,
remember
it
that.
took a whole hour to even get here. We almost died. So we ended up just having sex in the parking lot, and afterwards, old dude over here starts bawling. And I was like, I just gotta tell ya, Will.
I gotta tell you something. Well, I mean, you kind of led it up to the point. I don't know the exact words I said.
Well, it took you at least 30 minutes
It
to even
did take me a
fucking
while
tell
to
me.
even be like, man, because I was contemplating it. I was like, well, I don't want to say it too soon, and also, but and he ended up saying, I love you, and Laura.
I don't know. I was like shocked, like, what? And we had just had sex, and I was like, you're crying. That must mean something if you love me. I don't necessarily know if I was in love with him at that point, but I definitely loved him. So of course, I said it back after like an hour, and
I was
we
like,
went home. Or you dropped me off at home.
I remember, I don't know that when the exact words, I remember telling her, like, look, it's okay for you not to be, like, in love with me right now. I just had to let you know that I do love you. And, like, that's, I just needed to let you know that.
Well, I think being in love and loving someone are different.
So, speaking of different, let's talk about infatuation.
I still think that goes hand with loving somebody. Once you get past that is when you can be in love. You have to get past that person's flaw.
So I think that's a good segue. To me, and tell me if you agree or disagree or whatever. To me, infatuation, it's amazing. It's that point in time, maybe early in the relationship and maybe a while into it, but it's the point in time where like you can't see any wrong in that person. Everything they do is like butterflies and unicorns and rainbows. It is just a high. It's amazing, but it's not truly it's not everything that person is. Do you agree, disagree?
I mean, I kind
Add
of
on?
knew you were an asshole. The first phone call, you were nasty.
Well, apparently
You were really
Laura...
cocky.
Yeah, apparently Laura wasn't infatuated, but I was.
I don't know. You're always kind of an asshole. You still are. So, I mean,
But here's the thing, though. I think there is something to being a little bit of an asshole. In my past relationships, I felt like I just got ran over, and I just kind of started off by just being like, okay, whatever.
That was another thing you did a lot. You always would compare me to your exes or say things like, well, so-and-so did it this way and I didn't like that, or you're acting like so-and-so and I don't like the jealous type like so-and-so, so that
Yeah.
better not be you, or stuff like
I
that.
remember doing that. Guys, don't do that. It's a bad idea.
Or you would just constantly talk about them. So, I mean, there wasn't necessarily infatuation stage.
So, talk about them. There was a difference in between like talking about them, or at least in my mind. It may have came off differently, but I was so ecstatic and so happy to be with Laura that it's almost like, wow, you're everything that I could have imagined, could have dreamed of, and it's like I remember going through this problem, and now I don't have this problem with you. That's put lightly. I'm not going to jump too far into that, but there will definitely be a time and place for that in this podcast. Like we said, it's not all like rainbows and all that. So that's what I feel like infatuation is to me. That was a really long definition of infatuation, Laura.
Anyway, I think loving someone is like, there's so many different aspects of love. You can love a family member like a family member, a pet like a pet, a kid like a kid, a cousin like a cousin, a boyfriend as a boyfriend. Sex is sex. But being in love is like, I really can't go the rest of my life without you. I can't not see you. And I think there's different stages to being in love. I wasn't in love with Will until like a year or so in. And I actually said at first that I was in love with you. And we have been almost inseparable for almost 7 years. I mean, there's that month or two we spent apart. And that's when I hit I would say, I guess, the second stage, where may not even be a good stage, where you're more dependent and you're more of a security blanket. I mean, I met you when I was 16. You taught me a lot of things that I might have not known at 16. So you've become a security blanket, and that's not necessarily healthy. I'm not saying I'm like obsessed. I mean, you do get on my nerves, and I do like it when you leave me alone, but
oh yeah, that's a good one.
When you went to Kentucky and I wasn't going to be around you, I was pregnant, I had to take care of Eden, I had nowhere to live other than with my mom, and our relationship together is horrible. But apart, we do great. We just can't live together. We're too much alike. And I cried so hard that day you left that I threw up everywhere, and it was hard to separate myself from you.
That was a really low point in our life. That deserves its entire episode.
I feel like where I'm going would be, I guess, the third, maybe final, I don't know, stage of being in love, where I'm finding my independence, that I don't need you. I can do things on my own. I'm my own person. I'm not just a mom. I'm not just a wife. I have things that I like to do that you might not, and that's cool. I have friends that, we all hang out, and that's great, but I want to hang out with just them sometimes.
Definitely. And I think that touches on like alone time. Like, we definitely went through a lot of ups and downs with like that kind of like alone space, because like when you're early in the relationship, it's hard to be like, I just want to hang out and just kind of chill by myself, because it seems like you're being an asshole. It seems like you're being a dick, or whatever, like you're pushing it off, like I don't want to hang out with you. And I think a lot of couples do get stuck in that, where you can't get your own time away because the other person, is or vice versa. Like, both of you have a hard time letting each other have your own space. We kind of had that early on, and then it got to the point where we eventually were like, well, I'm with you every single day. It might have been like when I lost my job at King Bio, where it was like every single day we were with each other nonstop, 24/7. And eventually it got to the point where it's like, okay, it's okay for you to be in this other room for half the day or whatever, or you in the other room and alone. That's fine. And then like Laura's touching on now, like we're getting even further into independence, where it's okay for her to go out, with her girlfriends and go to the bar and chill and do whatever and come back home. And it's okay for me to go out on some crazy ass epic hike and she has the kids or vice versa. And it does take a lot of trust and a lot of building to kind of get to that point, I feel like.
I wouldn't necessarily say I mean, I don't know. We've been together so long.
Yeah, we really don't. I mean, I'm not saying this like to amp us up, but I really feel like we both trust each other quite a bit as far as like, what's it called? Fidelity or infidelity or whatever. Like,
adultery.
Maybe it's because we have been together so long, or maybe it's because we both think each other are hot. And, I mean, like,
yeah, I also have a problem with lying, so I would end up telling on myself.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible liar.
Oh, I'd say, I don't know. I'd say that was like an asterisk. She is bad at lying.
It just doesn't work. It's not worth it. You feel like shit. There's no point. If you're going to cheat, then don't be with somebody. It's that simple. There's no point into it.
So, I guess...
You still get jealous, though. You say you're not the jealous type, but you are the jealous type.
I'm not jealous. I'm protective.
There is not a difference.
And not like overly protective.
You are jealous. You are a very jealous type.
Okay, we're not getting onto the subject of...
You are.
OBGYN
So, if I go and make a male friend that is straight and want to hang out with him without you there, you're dope.
I gotta see and meet this person.
Exactly, because you have a trust problem.
Flip it.
I wouldn't mind.
I'll go to see this random ass bitch.
Okay, so say you meet this straight male or whatever, and I'm like, okay, we're going to hit up the bar. You're cool with that.
I gotta meet them in person.
But if you've met them first.
Yeah, if I met them first, it's not that big of a deal.
I don't know.
Like, I really trust Laura to not try to, like... You
still get salty, Mr.
Hit on people,
yeah.
But I do
Go
not
ahead.
trust other people.
I let you hang out with that friend you have, and I don't get jealous.
Oh, she does get jealous.
I do not.
Alright, this episode is not about jealousy, but it is, like, I think... Like Laura said, love comes in many different forms, many different ways. And we don't have any Q&A questions, but I'll ask you, just like I'm someone else. How do you know you're in love?
Shit. I don't know. I guess it's a matter of, could you see this person in the long run? It's just the person, when you lay down with, know that is going to take care of you and your kids. Because if you're having sex with someone that you're in a relationship unprotected, then the chances are you can have a kid. And if you can't see yourself with that person taking care of your kids with you, it's not worth it. And can you see this person taking care of you when you're sick? When you're old and wrinkly and ugly as shit, is this person still going to want to have sex with you?
I think that's fair enough. If I had to throw in anything on that, how do you know you're in love? Or how do you know, let's flip that. How do you know someone else is in love with you?
Also, political views, religious views, if you don't agree on those things, it could be very hard. And parenting styles.
Yeah, get those out of the way quite quick. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Laura and I agree a lot on a lot of things. There's some things we don't agree on, and that's okay, but at least we know our standpoints. Cool. The
looks that they give you.
Yeah, those dreamy eyes.
The sex. You definitely can tell the difference between just fucking or lovey or whatever the hell it is.
And I think you can fall in love.
If they can deal with you wearing their fucking socks
Oh yeah. I wear
and
them all
not
the
putting
time.
your dirty clothes in the laundry
I be
basket.
putting holes in them socks.
I know, it's fucking gross. You have crusty feet. You make my socks crusty.
Love also isn't about just like the happy times, the good times. And I think we should get into that a little bit more on the next podcast. But I think that's going to really wrap it up for the night. We actually have a date night tonight.
Let's see, will that turn into an argument or because Will fell asleep and lied about it or not?
Don't be putting me on the spot.
It's gonna.
I drank too much coffee already today, so there's no way in hell that I can actually drink any more coffee. But we just need to pick an action movie.
Nah, nigga.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.